Okay, so today we're going to do something really interesting with a deck of cards. This is something that I used to be able to do. I'm not sure if I can still do it, but I guess we'll find out, okay? First thing we're going to do is give the deck a shuffle, and then we are going to have the spectator pick a card. So let's say, in this case, they pick the 8 of spades, okay? And take the 8 of spades, we're just going to cut it right there into the middle. We're not even going to touch it. Now, if I snap my fingers, I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but one card should be a little bit easier to find than the others. Looks like one card in the deck actually turned red. Now, at this point, it would be pretty amazing if it was your selection, right? I don't know, but let's see. It would be the 8 of spades. It looks like it. We got the 8 of spades. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to set the 8 of spades there, and I want to see if I can do it again. You know what? This time, just call stop whenever you want. Right there? Okay, how about that? The Ace of Hearts. Here we go. Try this again. Looks like every single card stayed black except for the... You don't think... There's no way that this could be the... What's up, everybody? Kier Gomes here, and welcome back. In today's episode, we're going to learn a little something together that I use in pretty much every Magic performance that I do. It's actually one of the very first card tricks that I ever learned. And I think it says something that a trick that I learned years and years ago is something that I still use today to get great reactions. Today, I'm going to be teaching you the Chicago Opener, or as some people like to call it, the Red Hot Mama. This is a card trick that a lot of magicians know how to do. It's a card trick that I think is very versatile in terms of things that you can do to really customize it to your performance style. So today we're going to be talking about a bunch of little subtleties that I use to really dress up this effect and make it special. As well, today we announced the winner of the Oculus Playing Cards giveaway. And make sure you stick around to the very end of this video because we're doing another giveaway, which makes it our second giveaway this month, and we have way more to come. Before we get started, please do drop a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And without further ado, let's roll that intro and get you guys on your way.
Let's go.
So the Chicago Opener, or the Red Hot Mama, is a pretty astonishing effect, especially if you look at it from the mind of a spectator. Given that in recent years, Magic has really broadened its scope from being a performance art that happens face-to-face, live with real people, to being something that you can kind of do online for anybody. And with tutorials and theory and all kinds of information being available to people online, I think sometimes the simplest card effects get lost on people, especially newer magicians that don't have a lot of experience performing in front of people. Any experienced magician will tell you that some of the most simple card effects that you can do get the biggest reactions and the most astonishment from your spectator. The Chicago Opener is a great example of that because it uses very, very standard, very basic principles in card magic. However, if done correctly with the right amount of pattern and misdirection, it's really a trick that people have a hard time putting back together in their head. So not only am I going to teach you how to do the trick, I'm also going to go over some of the little details, things that I use to make this trick a little bit more special and overall just a lot sexier for your spectator. So let's get into it. So the first thing that you're going to need is a deck of cards that you have with more than one color. So for example, you could do this with bicycles, no problem. I wanted to use the Fontaines, but if you have a blue deck of bicycles and a red deck of bicycles, you can get the exact same effect, okay? So what you want to do is just take one of the colors. I always do the darker color for contrast purposes, but what you're going to do though is you're going to take one of the cards in that deck. So in this case, I just use the Jack of Clubs. And then you're going to grab a card from the same deck with a different color and the same face. So I have a darker colored Jack of Clubs, and then I have this lighter colored Jack of Clubs. Holding your deck face up like that, first you want to take the darker colored Jack of Clubs and put it there. So the jack that is the same color as the deck, okay? Then you're gonna take your alternate colored card, in this case, Jack of Clubs, and you're just gonna put that one right on top of it. You can spread through the cards fairly freely, and the spectator would not know that there is a setup in the deck. Now, you don't have to shuffle the cards, and sometimes it's a little bit risky because depending on how you do your shuffle, like if you are doing this, you see how it flashed there, so you want to try to avoid that. If you're not comfortable shuffling the cards, you can just do this and say, look, all the cards are different, we're good. And what you don't want to do is draw attention to the fact that all the cards are the same color, because then the spectator is going to be expecting a card to change colors. So now that we've covered one of those little subtleties, let's talk about how to actually do the trick, okay? So after the cards have been, shuffled if you want to or whatever, you want to first have the spectator select any card that they want. In this case, let's say that the spectator pulls out the Queen of Hearts, okay? This is where you're gonna wanna insert some patter to drum up the intensity of this trick. So Queen of Hearts, and then just turn it over on top of the deck. Now what we gotta do is lose the card. So what we're gonna do is swing cut the card from the top into the middle and drop the rest of it on top. You genuinely are gonna cut the card into the middle, okay? Now at this point, it's important to use some verbal misdirection. Your spectator at this point is going to be burning the deck because they don't know what's going to happen, but they know that something is going to happen with their card. You want to make some kind of magical gesture, something to kind of draw their gaze more towards you, and then say, okay, we're going to find your card and we're going to try to do this in a fairly interesting way. You can insert whatever pattern you want, but spread slowly through the deck to really start to bring up the intensity, okay? Because you want to say, okay, we're gonna find your card in a pretty interesting way. You don't want to spread fast and get straight to it, because then it's too obvious that you knew what was gonna happen. It doesn't satisfy anybody. So slowly, we're gonna find your card in an interesting way. Okay. So now what we have is, if you remember, this card was on the bottom, okay? So because it was on the bottom, when we cut it, it actually cut the secret card on top of the selection, which is the Queen of Hearts. This is also important for misdirection, because if you do this in a sloppy way, it really looks like you're trying to hold the setup in place, so you don't want that. Here's how you can avoid it. Spread slowly. When you notice the pink card or the different colored card, draw attention to it with your voice. So, oh, looks like one card changed color. And then what I do is I grab it with my ring finger and I out jog it, and then I continue spreading through the deck so that they can see that genuinely only one card has changed color. You want to make sure you don't flash, but you definitely want to make sure they can see that only one card has changed. And then what I do is I just slide the secret card and everything under it into my left hand and just casually move it to the top of the deck. So then it more or less just looks like you're moving the pink card to the top. So now, to complete the first phase, we're gonna say, so it looks like just one card changed colors. Wouldn't it be interesting if this card was actually your card? And you're gonna do a double lift. So we know that the secret card is not the spectator selection, but we know that it's on top of it. So we're gonna do a double lift and show them that their card has actually changed color. Now that we've done that, we're gonna drop the single card, the secret card, on the table. And we're gonna say, that was pretty amazing, but let's see if we can do it again. Now you're pretty much clean. The only thing left for you to do is force a card. Now for the Chicago opener, the way that the setup works, after you cut the deck and then you bring this card to the top, your Jack of Clubs, your purple one, is still in the same spot. It's on the bottom of the deck. So however you feel comfortable forcing a card from the bottom is up to you. I do it with the Hindu force. So what I would do would be, let's see if we could do it again. Just go ahead and tell me to stop whenever you want. Let's say they say stop right there. You just show them the card. At this point, you don't really want to draw attention to what card it is. You just want to kind of show it to them. It's okay if you see it, but you don't want to have them stop and then you go, okay, Jack of Clubs. You don't want to say it super fast like you already knew what it was. You just want to casually, okay, let's go with that one. Are you good with that? Okay. So now you're done. You're completely clean. All you need to do now is a little bit of acting. So you're gonna snap your fingers again, make that gesture, and spread slowly again. Spread slowly through the deck. Now this part is important because it's important that as the performer, that you make it seem like you're genuinely looking for a card to have changed colors. Okay, even though you know that that's not gonna happen, your spectator thinks it's gonna happen, and you have to kind of give them that. So you have to spread slowly again, just like you did before, and say, okay, and then one card is gonna change color. At this point, I always act like maybe it was like I messed up, or, you know, I'll be like, okay, that clearly did not work. Let's maybe have you snap your fingers. And usually at that point, I'll have the spectator snap their fingers to see if it works, and I'll do it just one more time. You don't want to do it too many times, but once or twice. Again, when it doesn't change, that's when you want to start drawing attention to this. I always just point. I go, okay, so we said one card changed color. You don't think maybe... Now you want this to seem like it's a surprise to not just them, but also you. You don't think maybe... And then there's your big reveal. The card to the spectator has changed. So before it was the Queen of Hearts, it was the selection. You then drop it on the table as the Queen of Hearts. You go through this whole other phase, and in that time, the card has somehow changed from the Queen of Hearts to the Jack of Clubs. Okay, now I'm gonna switch angles back to my face, and we're gonna talk about some subtleties. Okay, so a few things that you really want to make sure to avoid, or a few things that you want to put more emphasis on when you're doing this trick. If you're performing this trick for the camera, there's really no way to make it intense, because unless you're using pattern, you have some interaction. There's no way to really drum it up, which is why I think this card trick gets lost on a lot of newer magicians. It's because they haven't performed it. If you perform this trick for somebody, it's totally different than seeing it done on camera. And the reason for that is because the interaction is so impossible in person. I'm gonna do a separate rant on that probably. But anyway, some subtleties that you wanna get into. Something that I think works great if you're performing this live is after you've done your first phase, when you do your double and you show the spectator that their selection has gone from one color to a completely different color. If you're doing it on a table, you can just pop it and drop it on the table. But if you're doing it for a spectator, after you've done your double, then have them put out their hand and put the card in their hands, and then have them kind of sandwich it like that. This is gonna be really good for you, because what's gonna end up happening is your spectator is gonna have the card in their possession, like on their person. So they're really not gonna be expecting that anything is gonna change with this card, because they're holding it. They know that there's no way that your hands could have manipulated anything. If you can, if you're performing this live for somebody, put the card in their hands, open their hand, and have them turn it over. Open their hand and then go, can you turn that over, ma'am or sir? They turn it over, and then they are gonna see that the card has completely changed. That can be a really astonishing moment if you focus on the subtleties, like not drawing attention to it while it's in their hand and letting them kind of almost forget about it. They're gonna be so focused on what you're doing that they're gonna forget that the card that they're holding has been in their hand the whole entire time. So when it changes, it's gonna be completely, for them, impossible. They'll lose sleep over it. Well guys, I really hope that you enjoyed my take on the Chicago opener, or the Red Hot Mama, whatever you want to call it. Something that I would highly recommend if you're a magician, especially if you're a newer magician and you haven't gotten out there and performed in front of people yet. It's okay. Start with a trick like that, because it's very simple, doesn't take a lot of practice to really nail down, and it's something that if you really put your time into it and if you really believe in this trick, it's something that your spectators are gonna fall in love with. And I sincerely hope that you enjoyed my take on it. However, I encourage everybody to come up with their own pattern and their own little subtleties to make that trick theirs. And now for the moment you've been waiting for, the winner of the Oculus playing cards. Congratulations to Chico De Coster. I really appreciate you commenting on all my videos. I really appreciate your support over this past year. And I sincerely hope that you look forward to my videos as much as I look forward to sharing them. Make sure that you get in contact with me so I can send you your deck. And thank you again to everybody that entered this giveaway. Also, a special thank you to the United Magicians Emporium for providing me with some of these decks that we're gonna be giving away this month. Now, if you didn't win this time, don't be discouraged, because we're doing it again today. This week, we are giving away a sealed deck of snake oil playing cards by Alex Pandrea and the Blue Crown. It's a wonderful deck printed by the United States Playing Card Company, and it's perfect for magicians, cardists, or card collectors and poker players. So if you're interested in winning the snake oil deck, this is all you have to do. Make sure that you're subscribed to my channel, and of course, leave me a comment letting me know why you should win this deck of cards. It can be anything. I really look forward to reading every single comment. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. And of course, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I know I will. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Let's go.